Welcome to Noble Just Beef, the small business marketing podcast. We're your hosts, Joe and Todd, and each episode we chat about business and marketing topics and have a bit of fun. So whether you're in the car, doing a workout, or just relaxing at home, we're here to bring you some insights, some stories, and a bit of fun. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our monthly adventures. So let's get this conversation started. Todd, today we are talking about the tools marketers use to make online marketing simpler.
Yes.
So, what are the must-have marketing tools that you think small business owners should have?
There are so many tools, and I think at the moment it would be difficult to share all of the tools you could use. There's loads, isn't there? You only have to go on social media and there's a new tool here, a new tool there. And of course, once you start looking for new marketing tools, you get adverts for all marketing tools. It can be quite overwhelming. So I thought what I'd share is the tools that we use and we've used for a long time. Because in this dawn of like AI tools, there's loads, isn't there? There's lots of shiny object syndrome, lots of apps you can download, free trials. But actually, there's tools that most small businesses need. I think we'll start with CRM, shall we? We mentioned this on the way over. I'm always amazed. Are you amazed? How many businesses don't have a CRM?
Yeah,
And you introduced me to CRMs
I did.
when we started.
Yeah.
You said we need a CRM, and I said, "What's a CRM?" So actually, I'm going to ask you a question before I leap into this. What's a CRM?
It's a customer relationship management tool, which is basically better than using an Excel spreadsheet, which is, I think, how a lot of people start out, to keep your customer data all in one place. So things that we have in ours would be, the basics like name, email, all the contact information. But then with ours, you can also tailor it so you can add any specific information that you want to remember about a client. So we have things like their disc profile, which is important for us in terms of the way that we communicate with them. We also have how they found out about us in the first place. We have whether they're a current client, past client, lead, who are they, what's our relationship with them, and then a whole heap of other information too, which we can then use to filter, so we can get a list of our current clients or a list of our past clients if we want to contact them again. We can just do an infinite number of things with that data by being able to sort through the data and find what we want.
I think we could really do a note to ourselves, really, a whole podcast on how to use a CRM, because I think a lot of people view a CRM as kind of name, email address, phone number, and put in there what's their favorite coffee. And actually, there's so much more you can do with it. And as some of you may know, look, we love Zoho CRM. They sponsored our recent event, and we've done a lot. So much so they've created a case study on it. So I think we should probably go into that a bit more, but not on this podcast. We'll talk about tools. So a CRM absolutely is a no-brainer. And this is a marketing podcast, so you should definitely look at tools that can help you create videos and images. So my go-to video editing tool at the moment is CapCut. I really like CapCut. I also sometimes use the native editing tools within Instagram and Facebook. They're actually very good now. It's weird to say, isn't it? Massive company like Meta and something like CapCut will come along and be better at it for a while.
But doesn't Instagram actually favour stuff that's created within the native app anyway?
It does. You'll get away with editing things on CapCut in terms of cutting out the ums and the ahs. So I edit the shorts for this podcast on CapCut, but then Nicole and our social team will actually put it onto Instagram and put the captions and the hashtags and the categories and things on Instagram. So there's a balance to be had there. I actually prefer to edit lots of videos in CapCut. The desktop version is pretty good. I'll match the sound of this podcast and the video in CapCut, and then I'll chop it all up on the phone. So get yourself an editing tool for video that you like. Those three options there, Facebook, Instagram, and CapCut, are really, really good. But also, if you're looking to create really simple video like GIFs or good stories for social media and Facebook, Canva's very good. So we'll use a template in Canva for an event. So we're marketing an event. We'll have like the usual things like square, landscape, portrait. Joe's going to sneeze. I edited that bit out, slick. And we'll use that kind of template and then also create kind of GIFs and movable videos in there as well. So Canva's really come on since we last looked at it. Since I last looked at sort of using it, we've been using it for
A couple of
years.
Yeah.
So we do most of our social media content through there, and our like graphics for website blogs and things like that. So Canva's brilliant. So in terms of video and images, that's what we use. Keep an eye on Canva. There's AI tool in there now as well. Also, Canva now works pretty seamlessly with ChatGPT. So you can design on Canva via ChatGPT. So we've talked about that in the first podcast, did we? So look at generating some really, really great prompts and then asking it to create images in Canva, which is great. And there's a final thing on Canva: make sure you add in your brand in there, so your fonts and your colors and things. So hopefully, this is something else all businesses should really have. It's not really a tool, but you should have your style sheet and your branding guidelines. So if you've got those, drop those into Canva, and then you can create stuff on brand. Other tools we'll probably get into in a little while, like social media scheduling tools and things. Analytics is well worth a mention. So Google Analytics, which is now GA4, so it's the latest version, is very good now. Initially, a lot of pushback from marketers who'd known Universal Analytics for years because they knew how to work their way around it. I'm sort of predicting a future where you'll be able to speak to your data because it seems very searchable now. I'm sure they'll bring AI into it a lot more. But right now, you can say things in the search box like, how much traffic did I get from Instagram last month? And it will work out what you're looking for. It's not quite as good as it will be because you still need to sort of know the terminology that Google Analytics uses, which is very Google, very technical. So I think as someone that's used analytics for 10 years and has done the courses and things on it, it's actually quite easy for me to use. And then when I hand it to a member of the team, they literally can't get it to work because they're not speaking to it in tech. But I think that will improve, much like ChatGPT. You don't even have to spell it right anymore. So analytics is good. I know we're going to talk in a little while about the social media tools, so we'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah. Okay. So really, how do automation tools make life easier for small business marketers?
Well, automation makes everything easier, doesn't it? I think the key thing about automation is, we're saying this on the way to drive here for the podcast, is that we all know really what we need to do, don't we? We know what's the best thing to do to be a parent, to start a new diet, to run a business. We know what we should be doing. But then life gets busy, business gets busy, and then it's all a bit feast and famine in terms of marketing. You do a load of it or none of it, and you're not quite getting your processes done. Your follow-up's a bit slack because you didn't quite follow up on everybody, and your email marketing isn't that good because you haven't thought about it. The great thing about automation is you can map out the ideal world. You can listen to podcasts like this. You can read books, listen to courses, watch YouTube videos and say, that would work really well in my business. If you can then take that process and automate it in your business, that means what you thought about when you invested the time in it will then play out in your business. So we've automated a lot, haven't we, in our business? I think one of the best examples, which is not true automation, but is kind of a simple place to start, is that we decided what the process looked like for creating a blog for a client, which is a lot harder than creating for us, because we'll get away with missing a few things. But when you're dealing with clients and sign off, you need the process to be really tight. So over the last decade, really, we've improved the process of creating 2 blogs a month and doing some social media and emails from it, which sounds really simple, but there's a lot of moving parts to it, and it has to happen in order. And there are usually around 5 to 10 people involved in the process of making a blog from us to the client. So what we've done as a team is created this process, and we were literally tweaking it yesterday for a new client because Nicole spotted there's a part in this process that's slightly different. And what we've done is created a checklist in Trello, and then every month 2 cards get automatically generated for that client with the checklist that we've pre-designed and agreed on, and then we follow that process through, and it's automated, it's automatic. Other automation that most businesses should really get a handle on is with their email marketing. When someone signs up to your emails, I know you spent a lot of time on ours recently, what's the email they get? What's the journey they go through? You know, if someone signs up to your emails and then just joins a conversation mid-through without a welcome, without a who are we or what you're going to get or some extra value or, you know, an offer to help them straight away, you're missing a trick, really. So again, it's a case of, what would I like to happen when someone joins my email list? I'd like this to happen. Great. Create those emails, put them into your email software and automate them out. Other automation that we've put in place, which is a bit cooler than that, is with our CRM. So someone comes to our website contact form, what most small businesses do when they get a contact form from their website is they get an email and they'll action it manually. They'll get an email and they'll get excited. We always get excited when we get an inquiry, and then they'll do something with it. Call them up, email them, whatever. We have a process now where it automatically goes in our pipeline, it automatically creates tasks, and there is a process that we follow through. So there's not like loads of automated emails to or anything like that, but they know we've got their message, and our team know we've got the message. And we've also automated Slack, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we've got an internal messaging tool called Slack. It's like WhatsApp for Teams, isn't it? Really, it's an internal tool.
Like MSN Messenger off of 2002.
Just showing your age, right there, Joe. Did much MSN in your early years? Did you?
A very large amount of MSN. Yeah.
Great. So we've actually linked Slack so that if someone inquires on our website, it generates a lead on our pipeline. Slack's a particular channel, and then it's a really useful channel, that, because we could just go to the leads and inquiries channel, whatever it's called, leads and sales, and we can just see all of the inquiries that have come in. And it's just a really useful thing to do, and it's automated. So yeah, there's so many I could mention. I don't think we should mention all of them because we'd be here all day. Think about the process, the ideal process, and how can you automate that? You will be able to automate that. And there's a little tip before I finish this bit. If you don't know, ask an AI tool. There's plenty of language models out there where you can have a conversation with it and say, I'd like to embed this process into my business. How do you think I could do that? Have the conversations and the prompts and everything. And they usually suggest tools. They'll usually say, try Slack, try Trello, try this, try that. So have a conversation with a robot if you're stuck.
Wow, things have changed. Can you talk about how CRM systems work with other marketing tools, and why is that a good thing?
Yeah, I can, and I will.
Would you? Because I have just asked you to.
I love it when you knock me off point. So we used to use a CRM called Capsule CRM.
We did.
Shout out to Capsule CRM. Brilliant CRM.
What, are we in the 90s? Shout out. Do you want to shout out to your mum?
I started you now, haven't I?
Shout out to my mum. Hi, mum.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
I've started you off now. Let's get serious, though. Capsule CRM was our first CRM.
It was.
But it's a good starting place if you're a small business and you're just starting out. The problem with Capsule is it didn't have its own email marketing and its own analytics and its own XYZ in there. What we
had to get it to talk to other things, didn't we?
Yeah, so I became like a Zapier engineer. Zapier is essentially it's a tool that links one piece of software with another. So when this thing does this, make this thing do that.
You used your technical geekery to make stuff happen.
And, I liked it. But it got to a point where I got really, really bored of fixing Zapier. I got really
bored of you talking about it.
Yeah. I don't talk about it as much now, do I?
No, thankfully.
No, because now when it breaks, I get someone else to do it. So we still use Zapier a small part. But now what we have is Zoho CRM, which has its own tools within it because they are linked. So to your question, what's the importance of it linking to other systems? Your CRM should be the hub of the wheel. It should be the center of your business universe, and everything that happens in your business in terms of marketing, communications, emails, meetings, should all be in your CRM. So now we have a situation where I can go to David Smith in our CRM, not his real name, and I can see...
We have a Wayne...
we
have John Wayne.
We've got John Wayne. So now I can go to John Wayne in the CRM, and I can see how many emails John's opened, how many emails John's clicked. I can see how John found us in the first place, which company he works at, and all of the regular details. But then I can see how many bookings he's got with us coming up, if he's booked a call or a Zoom meeting, and how many meetings he's got in the past. We've also linked his SharePoint to that folder. We've got his disc profile in there. Is he a current client, an ex-client? Was he referred? Where is he referred from? And we can see which pages he's been on our website recently and how long he's been on there for, and if he started a chat on our website, and lots of other things as well.
Whether he's seen a proposal, which page he's
read
on a proposal.
If he's asked to work with us, we'll create a proposal in Better Proposals. Shout out to them as well.
Can we stop shouting out now?
No, I like shouting out. Also on a webinar with them soon too. Name drop. So Better Proposals is crudely linked with our CRM, but it's still linked. So when someone signs a proposal, it triggers a process within the CRM as well. So really the importance of having it all linked up is that you don't have to keep thinking about all these things. So go back circa 5 or 6 years in spaghetti agency, and although I was good at it, I would go to multiple platforms to find out the information, whereas now I can just go to the CRM.
Well, it tells you, doesn't it? And that's the other thing I really like from a motivation and HR point of view. I like the fact that when someone signs a proposal, we get a Slack notification and everybody goes, yay, everyone,
Yeah.
or yee-haw, as it should be when
Yeah.
we're on brand. That, everyone knows that something's happening and that it's a good thing. And I think that's really good for everyone to be aware of.
Yeah, and the other thing to consider if you're thinking about getting yourself a CRM at the moment is where will you be in a few years' time? It's challenging for us because we all struggle with that question. But you will quickly outgrow something like Capsule CRM. You won't outgrow HubSpot or Zoho because you can grow with it. But we are constantly evolving our CRM because we have like a director's dashboard, don't we? So you'll ask me questions once a week. How are sales? How's the sales pipeline? Instead of having to go to the pipeline, I just go to the same screen and answer all the questions off the same screen. I don't even have to scroll. It's right there because we've pre-designed it with Brian on our IT team to build it so it actually works how we want it to work. So think about the future because your CRM might not be good enough for it. And the future, of course, will be AI as well. So how good is the AI adoption with your CRM? But to your question about linking it up, it's incredibly important because it saves you time and it gives you much more intelligent decisions in real time. So if I'm on the phone or Zoom with a client, I can open up their CRM and see, do they care about our emails? Are they engaged? Where did they come from? What did Joe say to me in the last meeting? And I'm looking at a way of integrating Otter AI, which transcribes and records our Zoom meetings, to see whether I can feed that data in there with an email match. So that then I can look at John Wayne and then I can see the summary of his last 3 calls with us. I mean, then you've got all the data you're really going to need in front of you, which is what you'd expect from a large company. You ring a bank, you ring your insurance company, which I know you've had the pleasure of doing recently. We won't shout out to insurance companies. They're all bastards, aren't they? Just charging us more money. But when you call them up, they know all of your stuff. They know which cars you've insured. They know your no claims discount. They know all of the stuff. And they know if you've called up before and said you've got a better deal from everywhere else. It's all logged and tracked. And I think small businesses can very easily create that scenario in their business with a good CRM setup.
We've always had that. We had that in Capsule. It's just that somebody not too far from here was not that great at adding their notes after meetings.
Are you slagging me off on our own podcast?
I believe that's what I'm doing.
The point taken.
Let's move on. What are some affordable marketing tools that you suggest?
There are loads of affordable marketing tools. I mean, there are cost-effective CRMs. You and I differ in opinions on HubSpot. You really like HubSpot, as do I.
Well, I just think if I knew then what I know now, I'd have probably gone down that route in the beginning.
Yeah. The thing I dislike about HubSpot is almost all the clients I speak to that use it find it's very expensive to level up to go and do the stuff they really want to do. So there's lots of cost-effective CRMs. And as I just said before on the podcast, if you're watching a short video of this, invest in the future. Think about what you'll look like in the future if you're going to get a CRM. The other kind of cost-effective tools, most of these video editing tools are fairly cheap to use. If you're going to edit videos and you don't want to spend any money, just use Facebook and Instagram. It's free, probably forever. On TikTok, you can edit the videos, cut out all the ums and ahs and edit it all together. As long as you don't put music on it, because it might not work on other platforms, but you can download that video before you publish it, and then it's yours as an MP4 without the TikTok logo on it. So you can use these tools, kind of abuse them a little bit, and use them for your own gain. I mentioned analytics already in the podcast, but you should definitely look at Google Analytics. It's free. And also Google Search Console helps you understand how people search to find your business, which is really good data, which we'll probably talk about in a little while. Those 2 tools are free. They're not perfect, but they're good enough. Then, of course, if you're a small business marketer, you're going to want to schedule some social media. I always say this, but it's better not to schedule if you want great reach. But fact is, we're busy. Scheduling really, really helps. And we schedule lots of our own content and our clients.
So speaking of scheduling,
You want to move on to
what
scheduling?
tools do you like for managing social media?
I used to be a massive fan of Buffer, and I still think Buffer's good. I still like it. We had to move away from it because we needed to work with our clients so they could see what we were creating for them. We took on that one particular client a few years ago who we won't mention, and they needed to see every single post before we put it out. And we literally put it onto a Word document and sent it to them. And it was so difficult to get the sign off on it. And it was like an email backwards and forwards. No, I'm talking about post 4, not post 3. And, I've just edited post 3. So Plannable, I love Plannable because it was created out of a need for a solution to that particular problem, which was, well, I've created 20 posts for my client next month, and we're talking about different things in different places. They can't envisage how it looks on Instagram. I know how it's going to look on Instagram because I've already put it in my own just to see how it looks, or I can just envisage it because I'm a great social media marketer. Whereas Plannable, you can literally put it in. It looks exactly like it will look on Instagram, including the scrollable carousels or the video playing as a reel. And then the client can really give feedback on it. They're giving feedback on the actual post. Go back to when we started. We'd get feedback on posts that were live. We'd just put them out. And the client would go, I don't really like that. Can we not do that next time? Fine.
Yes.
Whereas now that's not acceptable now. That's not acceptable.
Well, we were cowboys then, and we're still kind
just
of
slightly
cowboys
more
now.
professional now. So I really love Plannable. They've just brought in analytics as well. So you've got a full report on there, which is great for an agency like us because we'll send reports to clients. But it's also great for yourself as well. And I say this to clients all the time. 80% of the reason for creating the report is for us. And actually, it's for Nicole. Nicole hates doing the monthly reports. Harry, Nicole.
She's
I know Nicole listens to the podcast.
She's not into numbers, same as
She's
me.
not into numbers, but what it does do is it keeps her accountable to her own content, and she has to, she's forced to, because of this job, go through her work and say that worked, that didn't work, and you are just inadvertently training yourself to get better, which I think is important because when you're busy and when you're in the throes of your own business or if you're running content for other people, it's often something you neglect is to look back at what you've done and work on it. You're always looking for the new stuff, new things come in, a new trend, a new show.
Love a new shiny object.
Shiny object comes and you forget, what worked last time. You asked me a question in our meeting this week. What's the website analytics look like? One of our fortnightly, monthly questions in our sales meeting, and haven't fed that through fully into Zoho yet. So jumped onto GA4, put it in there, looked at it, and the top post was an Instagram post, an Instagram blog that Nicole had created, 18,000 views. And our insight from that is this was a very short blog. It's done very well on the internet because people are looking to how to do this particular thing.
A tactical blog.
It was a tactical blog, as we call it. And now I'm like, we should create more content around that, reels, videos, pictures, that kind of stuff. So the intel we get from that, the intelligence to enable us to create better content is really important. So analytics, the kind of two-way view. I love Plannable. It's great. I fell out with Hootsuite because they just got really expensive, but it is a great tool. Most companies that we work with an internal team use Hootsuite.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe, because the reporting is good. But keep an eye on Plannable. Plannable are spending a lot of time. I've got good links with the founder there and the team on, they involve us on dev conversations and stuff, and they're investing a lot of time in analytics. So I'm expecting big things from that in the next few months.
We mentioned analytics a couple of times. Why are analytics tools important?
As I've mentioned a few times, incredibly important for understanding what's happening in your business. And when I talk about analytics, I don't just mean website analytics. I mean email analytics, and I mean social media analytics. It could be chatbot analytics. It could be internal analytics from your team. So we use Toggle to track time on clients. You could use a time tracking tool to track how often you do things in the business. I think analytics, even though I'm a massive geek, analytics are important. I think where most people trip up is they don't, again, look at, well, what do I actually want to know from this? What do I want to know? And I think it's important at this point to sort of explain, well, what would you want to know from website, email, social, for example? Obvious things from website is where do you get most of the traffic from? And then where does most of the conversions come from? So you might find, had this with a client just recently, she joined us on our consultancy program. It's called the Goldmine. They work one-to-one with me. And
Shout out to the Goldmine.
what, were you in the 80s? So she came to us and she said, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I don't really think my audience are on Facebook. I've got more followers on Instagram. I put more effort into that. And I think I get more from that. And I knew at that point when she said, I think, that doesn't mean she knows. So we looked at our Google Analytics and it was the opposite. She gets more. She was correct at one point. She gets more traffic from Instagram,
Right.
but she gets no conversions from Instagram. All the conversions from
that
social,
could be tracked.
yeah, that could be tracked, of course. But all of the conversions that went through to a booking page and actually did something came from Facebook, and we've proven this now because she's now switched her energy around. She's putting more content on Facebook, and she's got more inquiries, and she's got more business. Just from that simple understanding of where does my business come from.
Yeah.
And I think as business owners, it's very easy to have a hunch, and that's why I like analytics. So let's move on to email. A lot of people will say that email got more opens. That's not the data you should track. That's not the data at all. What's the point of the email? We sent an email out the other week to promote our workshop. The email that converted more clicks, which made sales, when I cross-reference it with Eventbrite, got lower open rate. So fewer people went into the email, but there were more clicks and more sales. So that actually got the people who wanted to buy to open the email. And that's the difference. So if 20 people open the email and buy, that's better than 400 people opening the email and not.
Yeah.
So understanding the data and relating it to what you actually want in your business is what I'd like people to do. So it actually makes the job of analytics better and then an easier and a less boring process. Take Nicole as an example. She doesn't like data, but she now navigates seamlessly almost around Google Analytics 4 because she has a set list for one of our clients of what she needs to find. And she goes to Analytics 4, generates the report, fills out the spreadsheet that our client can view, and it's done because she knows what she's looking for. I think where most business owners fall foul of analytics is it's just a load of numbers and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just confused now. Well, that's because you're just looking at all data.
Yeah.
That's a scary place to be. Imagine you're at Piccadilly Circus and you're just looking at all people and all restaurants. Well, what are you going to do? Well, if you're going to Five Guys, you just go to Five Guys. It's easy because you know where you're going to go. So having an understanding of what you want from the analytics is really important. And on social media, it could be the same argument. Reach is great. Clicks and comments are great. Engagement's good. We all hear about that all the time. But what's actually happening from that? Who's actually making a sale from that? Often challenging to find that conversion. You might need to double up with analytics, your CRM, and have a look through, which is what I sometimes have to do with the sales from our emails. But knowing what you want from it and then trying to look for that is probably a better way of using analytics.
So on the topic of email marketing, what tech tips, easy for me to say.
Top tips, tech tips.
Top tech
Tits?
tits.
Big
tits.
tits.
What tech tip?
I mean, I'm not editing this out. This is staying in. I hope you're enjoying this.
How should email marketing be made better?
That's a much better way of saying it.
Thanks.
My top tech tips for email marketing are actually the same advice I probably gave 5 or 6 years ago, which is great.
Great. Do you want me to just
go and
refer back
find
to the blog that you were writing 5 or 6 years ago?
The reason for this is, and the reason why I think everyone should invest in email marketing is it hasn't really changed. This will probably trigger a few people. Email marketing is so different. Some of the most traditional tools you use in your business, they are the telephone, your email, and now Zoom or Teams. They're the most traditional things that you use, right? So the filing cabinet has disappeared. We've now got Dropbox and OneDrive. But really, email has stuck around for a long, long time. I think social media is now one of those things that will last for a very, very long time. But because email is such an important part in our business and in our world, you buy a ticket for an event, it comes on an email. You log into a website. What do you use as your username? Your email. So email is something people are never going to get rid of. So you should absolutely collect people's email data because that's never going to go anywhere. And to get people's attention with your email marketing, don't use it like email marketing. Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds strange to say, but if you want to market on email, don't become an email marketer. Because if you think about it, if you get an email from a client, how many times percentage do you open the email from one of our clients?
100%.
100%. Unless for some random reason it goes into spam, you open all of them.
Yeah.
How many emails do you open from that client on their marketing list?
If it's one of our clients, obviously I'm going to stalk their marketing list.
But if they weren't listening, I mean,
if it's Amazon or something saying, "Oh, you bought a toilet seat last week. Do you want to buy another one?" Then no, that gets deleted without reading it.
So the best way to get opened is to not look like a marketing email, is to use subject lines that don't sound like a marketer, to make sure your first line, which is visible in the email preview field, is a regular email. Use their name. The merge tags and first name fields are massively underused, even by us. When we use them, howdy name, but we don't use them in the email as much as we could do. Make it look like a real email. Don't trick people. That's not what I'm saying. But going from overly complicated, heavily designed emails that when you open it in Outlook or Gmail, it's just a load of red X's, going from that to a plain text email with a link in it rather than a hyperlinked button actually increases the performance of your emails. So we've done that with our emails and our clients' newsletters. I had a beautifully designed newsletter sent to us by a client this week, and I said, "What do you think?" I said, "It looks beautiful, but we're not going to use it. There is so much design in this email, it literally won't load." Stephen Bartlett's emails are like that. They are all designed, and they don't open properly on Outlook, and I don't read them because it's just, there's nothing there. It looks like spam. Now, I know it's not because it's from Stephen Bartlett, and I like his stuff, but his email is completely, it's not there until I load the images. And of course, if I've not got much internet and I'm out and about browsing, any hurdle you want to remove. So I'm actually a fan of simple but pattern interrupt, intriguing subject lines like whoops. You know, when someone doesn't attach the attachment, like people have now started to use that as a marketing trick. Whoops, we forgot the attachment in the last email. They've emailed you twice. Kudos for that strategy. And then secondly, they put the link in it. They haven't put the link in the first one, so they haven't lied, but I think they're making it up. I think it's a thing. How often do you open an email where it says, whoops, we made a mistake? You just do, don't you? You just do that all the time. Or
Human nature.
Human nature. Oh, they're screwed up. I want to see how they've done it. So yeah, an intriguing subject line and first line. Keep the email short, simple, to the point. Stick to one thing if you're selling something. And I'm now a fan of putting the links in as links rather than hyperlinking text, because we found recently that people don't actually know. Because I don't know, this is just thinking on my feet here really, that with like light and dark mode on phones and desktops, links look different. I've got dark mode on my Outlook. You don't like dark mode.
I hate dark
you
mode.
actually
I
don't
think
even
you're
have
some sort of vampire.
You don't even have the up-to-date version of Outlook on yours. I was fixing something yesterday and you're using the old version of Outlook.
I'm happy with the way it is.
And that's, you know, if you're happy, I'm happy.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
But if you're happy, I am happy, because it means I don't have to fix anything. But your Outlook to me looks like shit. I couldn't cope with that.
Oh, your Outlook looks like shit.
But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is our own marketing emails to you or me look completely different.
Do you think normal couples argue about whether each other's Outlook looks like shit?
I don't know, but you just completely ruined the point I made.
Okay.
Which was excellent, so I'm going to repeat it.
Do.
The emails from our own business look different for you than they do for me, because you're using light,
normal mode,
old Outlook, and I'm using new, super amazing, dark, slick, handsome Outlook. And it looks different. So always think about this. I mean, we fixed something yesterday on a client's website, brand new website, launched it a month ago. Something wasn't working for some of their audience and it was for others. Do you know what the reason was? It only looked good on a big screen, which is how the developers fixed it. It's how I've looked at it. And it's how the
They would have tested it on
tested it on all things.
Mobile.
But not this particular thing. So even the support desk with our client's company couldn't do it. But when their customers were on their laptops at the other end, they were using a smaller screen. So is it almost impossible, even with the testing that we did on that website, to predict what it's going to look like? And that's the same with email. So keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Plain text, hyperlinks as hyperlinks, not too many images. Much better way of doing email marketing.
Okay. Penultimate question. I just want to talk about SEO tools. So how do SEO tools help small businesses get noticed online? And what are some of the easy ones?
I mean, the obvious thing about SEO is it helps your business rank higher online. So if you've got a website and you invest in SEO, search engine optimization, then you are likely to, over time, appear higher up in Google. When someone searches for the types of things you do, great. There's nothing wrong with that.
Is that applicable to all industries, though, or not? Like if I ran a ladies' clothing boutique in Leamington and I wanted to rank for ladies' clothing.
Yeah, but I would rank in a slightly different place. I would focus more of my attention on Google Map listings.
Okay.
And I'd focused on local business listings, the
Right.
directories, the local newspapers, Yelp and Apple Maps and things like that.
Because you're not going to compete against Marks and Spencer's and Next, are you?
You're not. No, it's a really great point. You're not going to. But so you play a different game, and
Right.
you realise that you need to be found easily, and you need to have a very good map listing. Reviews are very important, and actually getting reviews helps your SEO, because if you encourage people to give you a review, they talk about your business in their review. Those words are used to rank your business listing online.
Right.
And then you can then use the data from that to form your marketing. So slight tangent here, but I did this the other week with Google reviews. Took all of our Google reviews using a Google tool where you can extract your own data, put it into ChatGPT and asked it to create me a summary of what people say about our business.
I think you did a word cloud, didn't you?
It did-
Because we were back to the 80s.
I didn't ask it to do a word cloud. No,
it just
ChatGPT is
chose.
very traditional. So the word cloud was useless. I told it, because I'm not polite with robots. And it then created me this whole kind of summary. And then I asked it to create me a social media post to promote something I'm doing based off that. And it was absolutely brilliant, because I'd used the data of what people said. And that for me is what SEO is about. It's understanding how people search and what types of problems do they have. So that Instagram blog, which Nicole wrote, which has had 18,000 views. And by the way, I think that will get to hundreds of thousands of views. I think it will just keep going. It's top of Google, 1 or 2 on Google for this particular term. I'm not going to tell you, because otherwise people will try and beat me. And it's getting traffic. That's because we understood from our own audience this particular thing. People didn't understand how to do it. We then searched how they did it. And then Nicole just wrote it. She just wrote this post. And we didn't really optimize that post. We just wrote the post knowing there was a particular niche problem. So understanding how your audience search for you can help your SEO. Well, it obviously helps your SEO, but it helps your blogs, your emails, your social media, your videos, your podcasts. Because this particular podcast, for example, we've researched the questions. We're like, what do people actually want to know? We've used our intelligence. We've used ChatGPT. We've got the team involved, and we are creating content on this podcast that we know will be useful to people listening. We know that it will be good content for video, because it's actually what people want to know, rather than, oh, let's talk about this thing that we like, And I think that's really, without getting too technical with SEO, that's what SEO is. It's having a very good understanding of how people search for the things that you do, and it stops you being too industry specific and too selfish. Yeah, you're creating content that they want.
Okay. Last question then. What new tech should small business marketers keep an eye on?
There is only one tech at the moment that you should keep your eye on, and that's AI. There are loads of other tech you should keep your eye on. There are, but AI is moving so fast. It's weird to think that we're only 18 months into the ChatGPT era. It came out in November 2022. I think that's right. Does that make it right?
Don't do maths.
Don't do maths, especially on podcasts. It's 18 months old. That's
Okay.
probably wrong. Yeah, it must be right. So it's not been around long. The advancements have been incredible, but that's just one tool. You look at the journey of Midjourney and how poor it was, and everyone still thinks that AI image tools create 6 fingers. Well, they're actually a lot better than they used to be. And you've got things like Photoshop with AI assistants within there.
Got songwriting.
Songwriting, yes, you wrote a song this week.
Well, was it me or was it a tool?
I mean,
it's half me, half the tool?
Is it above Cliff Richard in the charts at the moment or not?
I mean, as soon as I release it, it's going to just shoot to number 1, I'm sure. It's very cool.
And it's
called No Bull Just Beef.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's very on
Thanks for
brand.
paying attention.
Maybe I'll put it into here. Is it image? Can I use it copywriting?
Ask my robot.
Well,
you can. I've downloaded it.
Okay, so for those listening to the podcast, here is Joe's song, and somehow I'll make that work.
Okay.
So you should really should keep an eye on AI. The majority of businesses I speak to, when I mention AI, ChatGPT, nearly all of them say, "Yeah, but it's not that good," or "It makes those mistakes," and I call bullshit on that. I think that's your excuse for not investing the time in it, because you will have to invest your time in it. And on one level, you're right. Sometimes it's not right. And it even says at the bottom, ChatGPT makes mistakes, please check. Sure, Don't use it to write your thesis or, You don't use it to write the small print for a pharmaceutical product, of course. I was talking to a translator yesterday, translates languages for websites, but she's got lots of people in the pharmaceutical industry. She could not use a language model to translate it because it wouldn't make sense and it would be wrong and it would probably
Wouldn't be accurate enough.
it might hurt people.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't use it for that. But to discredit AI and say it's not perfect and correct, and so therefore you're
Don't
not going
use
to
it at
play
all.
with it,
Yeah.
is a huge mistake. We said in our workshop the other week, you know, people are like ostriches with their head in the sand.
They're like what?
Ostriches
Very good.
with their head in the sand, and that was me 18 months ago because I was like, oh, that's it, that's great, it's going to write all the content better than us, and it still doesn't write content better than us, but it will do. And we need to get into a situation where we're like 80% of jobs are going to be replaced by AI, not taken, replaced, and we're going to be dispersed and put other places. So you've got to get on board with this AI thing. And the best way to do that is to play with it and start using it.
Become a prompt engineer.
Or just become a companion of AI. I think that's a
nice
better way of
to put
doing it.
Yeah.
AI is a team member, isn't it? ChatGPT is one of our team. You know, we've created a few GPTs in there. We've got Otter that follows us around and creates things.
You say more about we've got Otter that follows us around? Because it sounds like, I mean, if it was a cute little animal that I could just stroke, I'd be well up.
Would that be? Would we have to build a dam, or is that?
I don't know.
No. What do otters do?
And maybe some sort of aquarium or tank might suffice.
They swim on their backs, don't they?
Oh, they hold hands when they're asleep.
Yeah.
No, is that beavers? No, that is otters. They hold hands like when they're sleeping, and it's just so cute.
Anyway,
Otter. Otter follows you around.
it's a virtual otter, and it follows me around for Zoom and Teams meetings. And not only does it record and transcribe, I'm so going to use that face on the clips. Not only does it transcribe and record, but it also gives a summary. And as I found the other week, it's got this chatbot in there, which has just come out of beta testing, where you can ask it questions.
Or beta if you're English.
It's an American tool. You can ask it questions. And I did yesterday said, how much did I get approval from for the Facebook ads for this client? And it told me, and it was correct because I hadn't written it down. Funny that. And
That's
it's
useful.
such a great tool. Really, really is such a great tool. So yeah, invest in AI. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That is it for my questions. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. If you've got any questions or comments, or you would like to say anything about my beaver face, then please reach us at howdy@spaghettiagency.co.uk. Next month, we will be back and we're talking about how to create the perfect content for each social media platform. So if you're keen to upskill on your social media, then please join us for that. Till then, thank you and goodbye.
Bye. Perfect.